Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Vision, where we talk behind the scene of Satu Vision. Today with Jeremy, the junior of Rian. Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Jeremy. I'm here as a performance marketer at Satu Vision.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Dario.
Of course, Rian suggested to talk to you more about time management.
Yep.
So we're talking in the recent podcasts about culture, about many other things.
Mhm.
So today you are here to explain us a bit more about time management, since everyone say time management number one is Jeremy. So how you get this status in here?
How do I get this status? This is what I do during my daily routine. Like every day. This is what I learned from Pak Rian also. He gave me tips about uh manage your time by doing the most important task first. And then you need to make a list like what is the most important, and then you move forward to the least important but it is also urgent. So this is the top priorities for your tasks.
I see. So you work based on the Scala where you have 4 fields basically. Oh, I see. Makes sense. Great. Okay. So you do this every day for each task in the beginning, in the
In the
morning.
beginning of the day,
Okay. And on the end of the day, you make a review or prepare for the next day, or what's the secret?
I did it. I always did it at the beginning of the day, but we use a tools called Notions. So every Friday, every end of the week, we list all of the tasks that we are planning to do in the next week, in the next period of the time. So every beginning of the day, before at the start of the day, it will be easier for us to manage the time. So you just put it in your calendar and then sort it out based on the most important and the most urgent thing.
Okay, so you do it weekly for pillars, and then you do it daily for yourself.
Yes.
Understand? That's wise and efficient. Everyone do it the same as you, or why your name stand out to everyone? What do you do different?
Well, I believe everyone is doing the same thing. But I think I believe what I do different is like efficiency, because I love we handle a lot of clients, right? Like one person can handle 4 to 5 clients. But what I did different is I love to open a specific window tab for each client. So every time I do a task for a client, I just open one tab specific for them and then focus on that task only, not looking at any other clients. So it will help me focus on doing the task that I am doing right there.
We're talking about a tab or a window?
A window tab. Sorry.
Okay. A window with multiple tabs.
Yep,
for
correct.
Okay, understand. Okay, that's the way you keep yourself dedicated to
Yep.
to the task that you start.
Focus on one client at a time, because I believe like if you try to do multitasking, one time you are handling this client and then after doing like 5 minutes and then you go to the other client, I think it's not really efficient. It will break down your focus. It will break your focus, and then you will end up doing like taking a longer time to finish the task.
Mhm.
That's what I believe.
Okay, interesting. And then also you mentioned we have a lot of clients. So in a digital marketing agency or in Satu Vision, you can say we are performance driven. That means sometimes it can be very stressful, specifically performance marketing and all related.
Yes.
How you make sure who needs how much attention? Because you said you focus on most important. How you know something is more important than the other task? Because Rian go with you guys through it beginning of the week, or you determine this yourself?
Well, every week, I determine this myself. To be honest, like what is the most urgent thing? If a client, like for example, if there is like special promotions that is going to take place next week, of course that is going to be the most urgent thing, right? That is the most important thing that I need to finish at the beginning of the day. And then other example, something like that affects the performance of the ads, like really affects the performance of the ads. For example, like we had the issue last month with the alcohol policy issue with one of the clients. That is, of course, highly urgent, and then of course very important. If we didn't take care of that as soon as possible, we are afraid that is going to, to drop the performance significantly. So yeah.
So away from the windows that you have on your monitor
Yeah.
that help you focus, are there other tricks, or do you think there is room for breaks that also help, or do you think no, I need to be really focused 8 hours straight through? That's the only way I can make it efficient, or do you think there is a cyclus in it that helps you to be more efficient?
Well, it's definitely not healthy if you keep on working straight.
I agree.
8 hours straight. Like find a way to have a 15 minutes break or 10 minutes break every time that you finish a task. Like that is really important to help you focus, also to help you to be efficient. To be efficient, it doesn't mean like to do a lot of things at the same time. No. To be efficient, it is to, finish a task with the highest quality that is possible with the shortest amount of time.
That's good. You say it correctly. Yeah. Don't say fast, say the shortest possible amount of time. Okay. So if I can reflect that, that means you set milestones. Once you reach them, you allow yourself a short break
Yes.
to have the feeling of satisfaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to
Yeah.
give yourself some reward.
Yep. Correct.
I think that's a good system that everyone can implement. Doesn't matter where. Can be in any department, can be any individual. Set yourself some smaller milestones. Once you achieve them, reward yourself with something little. Explain us a little bit more what's your daily tasks in performance marketing.
The daily task. Well, I mostly handle the Google Ads account for Satu Vision clients. The first thing that I do always is before doing the important tasks, like checking the account performance, like daily. Like, is there something going on? Is there a problem that pops up the day before when when we finish working? That's the number one thing to do. And then after that, review the important tasks. Like do the important task first, like I mentioned before. And then after that, if you finish it, have a short break, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that's enough. And then after that, maybe you can continue on doing the task. Or maybe if something is like you want to learn more about something, you want to know more about something, you can go and read something, learn something. You don't need to, every hour, you don't need to do your job like every hour. You also need to learn, as we are in the industry that is, fast paced. Yeah. We need to learn.
Correct.
Yep.
So you also take some time to develop yourself.
Take some time to develop yourself on top of doing the tasks. But do not overwork yourself. That is unhealthy.
I agree.
Yeah.
How you see this? If you develop yourself, you see this as a reward, or you see this as a task?
I see this as both task and a reward.
Okay.
Yeah. Good at task and reward.
So how much time in an average in a week you think you invest in develop yourself?
This is a daily basis. I think like half an hour a day is healthy enough.
And you're dedicated with that, or it's sometimes more, sometimes less?
More or less 30 minutes, half an hour a day. Yep. You can do it by either, reading a book or probably watching a YouTube video about tutorials or, like anything. It doesn't have to be related to digital marketing. It can also be related to self-improvement, like, for example, like public speaking, or maybe learn a new language that can be also help. So Dario, well, you have been asking me about the time management that I do or my daily tasks. But what about yourself? Like, do you have any tips for us, for all of the people in Satu Visions?
Sure. I honestly think you already do a really good job in time management, and all the factors you mentioned.
Well, thank you.
Welcome. All the factors you mentioned is exactly how I would do it, or how I would suggest the people to do it.
Yep.
I don't think I'm the best in doing it myself. I'm master in unorganized, organized. So I have my own structure in my head. I think in terms of overview and time management, I'm still not too bad. I like what you say with the focus. I think that's something I can highly forward to other people, to say, stay forward, stay focused on a task or on a milestone till it's done, and then you move on to the next. When I was younger, I think I was much better in it. Also, when I still not had so many things on my plate, it was not so overwhelming. So it was much more organized. right now in my position, I can tell you honest, like there is so many documents that if you imagine a table and you have to document the task to do, it just keep growing. So whenever you take one or two out,
Yeah.
and you feel like, oh, I'm satisfied now, one or two is done, you watch back to the amount of paper stack and you say like, oh damn, there is 50 new ones. So it's like a never-ending story.
Yeah.
I think then you need to have a different motivation on this level. The motivation is not anymore finished pillars. The motivation is what need to be done and considering helping others too, because you manage. So what I cannot do anymore really well is planning forward for long and static. It always need to be, I plan forward dynamic. Always try to put spaceholder for, let's say, urgent things that come between, something that we didn't know before.
Okay, that's a good idea.
That's something that changed in the last few years, I can say. But I would say if I'm still not on the level where I am, I would do it exactly the way you do. Jeremy, before you explain a lot about the daily tasks, I think you explained it really broad because people may don't have the technical knowledge to understand what exactly that means. But in performance marketing is a lot of time pressure, not only for deadline and numbers, but also for, let's say, the financial aspect. Clients trust Satovision with an amount of money, and to invest this amount of money wise and precise. And if you have the pressure of deadline, the pressure from us as the agency, the pressure of Rian, and then you make a mistake, it's really can be really costly, right?
Yeah.
How you handle this pressure with your time management? What's the value of to dedicate a higher priority to set up a campaign from scratch to make sure the budget, everything is set up correctly? Tell you why I ask this. When I was learning, I made a really expensive mistake that costing me 2 monthly salaries in that time because I invested or I clicked too fast on a button,
Okay.
a launch button,
Okay.
and I go home.
And then
Because-
you didn't realize the campaign
And
started.
I didn't realize that the campaign start and run not with lifetime budget, but with daily budget.
Okay.
For everyone outside, like you can dedicate an amount in Meta to say spend this on a day, and then it spends every day, as an example, $10.
Yeah.
Or you can say I have $100 for 10 days, and then it spends it individually, sometimes more, sometimes less, depends on the performance, right? And I was actually planning to do the lifetime budget, so I click 100, and then I make it daily. It was just a much higher amount, so it was like really fast gone. Like in 2 days, it was just like, shoop, it was gone. And to this time, I had to pay this back with my salary, and it was a really big lesson for me because since then I dedicate priority number 1 to cross-check all the campaigns before I launch them. How you maintain that?
Well, always think about this when you want to start a campaign for your client. Think of the budget that they gave us for the advertising budget as your own money, because if you think that budget is your own money, of course you will pay much more attentions and much more details in that money. You don't want to like throw away the money for nothing. You want to get the best possible outcome if you are spending for something that is really important. And then what I like to do is, like you mentioned before, Dario, like always double check. This is also the small mistake that I often did when I first start at Satovision, like missing out some small details, like even the date, that is also can be costly if you are not careful. But the number 1 tips, always double check. Like take your time. You don't need to finish your work as immediately as possible. Like you don't need to do it as you don't need to be the fastest worker in the office. You just need to do it correctly with the top quality, and also the speed that you promise. Like if you promise Thursday, then please do deliver it on Thursday if it's possible. Yeah, that's
Cool.
always double check your work.
Double check is a good point. And until today, my own work, I love to let it double check, specifically when time getting busy. I love to do it and then push it to another two eyes and ask them, or this person, please cross check. And if I know it's a really important document or invoice or whatever it is, I even go to another person and say like, cross check this.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So just to see, because so many times details got missed because of specifically time, have just a short amount of time, things get rushed up, you get disturbed by call, anything. So, oops, one small number can make a huge difference in the end of the month if you make a small number wrong. So yeah, I agree. Double check is it's good if you have it as a habit to ask others. What do you think about it?
Yeah, but the thing is, if you always ask others to check your work, but it can be bad, it can be good.
Let's say in the right balance.
Yeah.
In the right balance. I think it's good to, if you ask for small things like something that is not, if I ask you to name a campaign and you come back and say, is the name correct? I completely agree. But for major steps, I think it's not wrong to ask once too much. Major steps, really, we have to put this in value. I understand what you want to say, and I understand now. Just try to value, is it worth a question or can I figure it out myself? Because sometimes people ask for every small detail. I understand.
But it can ruin your efficiency also. Like
I agree.
Okay. Well, Dario, I have questions for you. You mentioned before, like now it's different in terms of your time management, because you have so many important tasks to do, like handling the clients, and then you have your own team now. Like, is there a day that you really feel overwhelmed because like you have so many deadlines that is coming in the short period of time, and then you also have, in the other hand, you also have like a lot of important tasks to do. Like, what is your tip?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
I can tell you should ask it the other wise around. Is there any days you're not overwhelmed? Because when we started it, you, in the beginning, when you come from an employer perspective or role, you feel overwhelmed if somebody gives you too much. The longer I'm in this position, the more I had to learn. There will never be no task on my plate.
Okay.
It will just not happen at this stage. It will not happen that there is no task. So the thing I have to learn or had to learn was not take it overwhelming, just doing it one by one.
Yep.
Without thinking too much about the rest of the stack. Because the more I thinking of the rest of the stack, the more it's stressing you out. And then you start to overthink, and then you start to be overwhelmed with everything.
Yep.
If you just ignore the stack, but using more or less the template that you mentioned with prioritize the task, it's just maybe for you different than for me at the stage to how to say this is priority 1, priority 2, and maybe a little bit more dynamic on my side. But other than that, there is not one day where you go home, the head is off. So that's the point where I say overwhelmed. Basically, the question is when not overwhelmed, because you never stop thinking about it. You go home, you think about it. Before you sleep, you think about it. You woke up, you think about it. You eat dinner, you think about it. On the weekend, you think about it. Even you go out with your friends, you think about it. There is not one day you don't think about it. So, but I would not call it overwhelmed. And if you would ask me like a tip, I think if you on the stage or in this position where I am, the only advice I can give is you cannot give up. You have to just keep going. That's it.
Well, that's a really good answer, Dario. Yeah, thank you.
That's the reality.
Yeah, that's the reality. Yeah.
We had this conversation multiple times in between, let's say, management level, how to maintain, let's say, creativity with time management, because that's something that even people who have 20 years experience in the field, that's something on many interviews or on many conversations come up to say like, I'm more creative person, so I have a less I have less qualities on time management.
Okay.
How is that? What do you think? Can people, maybe you can give a tip to people who are more creative. So try to put yourself in the shoes of them, where you have a really creative mind, how they can balance creativity with time management and with being focused on one thing. Because I think creative people also focus on one thing. They can be focused on one thing really well. I just think that creative people sometimes can be over creative.
Yeah.
So they can fly away with the visions. And then once they come back, they realize, oh, damn, I had to lose so much time on this. And it happened to me too often that I start to do something. And then after 2 or 3 hours, I come back to reality and I'm like, oh gosh, I researched this for the last 3 hours. Why? Why I researched so long for that? I was over creative. The solution was already here. So what can creative people do? Let's say over creative people do
Okay.
to maintain their time
Okay.
better.
I've heard about this during my boot camp, my previous boot camp. Like for creative people, if you are stuck, stop doing what you do. Like go outside, relax. Maybe drink some coffee. If you smoke, go out and smoke, relax, and then after you relax, and then and then after you have a short break, most likely you'll have a better insight that you can use for your work. Like number one tips is always don't overwork yourself. If you feel tired, go out and take a break. You deserve it.
That's
Yeah.
that's a really good tip for the audience. So specifically for the creative people,
Yeah.
if you're stuck, take a break.
Take a break.
But I also know when I say that, it's the hardest for them because in this time
Yeah.
they're like in a tunnel.
I know they
So-
they feel real stressed. Like they need to finish it today. But if you keep on doing that, if you keep on overthinking that, you'll get stuck like for hours, and it is not really efficient, and it is not really good for you, and it's also unhealthy.
I also want to add on this point something that I realize on myself. Often I try to push my limit.
Okay.
I don't know. I have this since childhood that I try to push myself. What is a good thing? Suggestion for all outside: fight against yourself, not against the others. That's the way you will grow and fast. But there is a limit. You have to respect the limit. I say this with experience to go pushing this limit too often. But I realized that on a certain point, it doesn't work anymore. Like as a simple example, if you try to create an image visual and you work on it and work on it and work on it, and it's getting 11 in the night and midnight, and you still have to push yourself to finish it. Sometimes I use hours, while in the next morning I can do it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work to push yourself on this stage anymore because you don't have the energy or the creativity anymore to fulfill it in short time frame, as you say, efficiency before. So you're not efficient anymore. You're not efficient. On this stage, it doesn't work. Maybe on the next podcast, I will love to invite somebody from the media team. So we have a creative person here to show their side. I would love to hear the story from their side and see how they talk about time management and creativity. Do you have somebody specific in mind?
Yeah, I have somebody. Lovely guy. Yep.
Excellent. So you guys can be excited for the next episode. And until then, we say, Sampai jumpa!